This is Scale to Fit in your 50s. Restarting exercising and feeling like a rookie at the age of over 50. With Marko Lindgren.
Hiya there, all you fitness-curious grown-ups. Scale to Fit in your 50s is back. And it took only a little bit less than 5 years. Oh my, how fast the time flies. I'm your sporty, soon-to-be host, Marko Lindgren. In this first episode, I will look back in time to clear the path to the present and also reveal what made a sports hater like me to go for regular exercise. And what I always like to say, don't do nothing, do something and scale it back. So it really has been almost 5-year pause between the seasons. But now we are on again, and I am so excited. Putting all the internal pressure aside, let's dig into the topic. So this season we will talk about scaling and getting fit, not anymore in the context of CrossFit, but more from the point of view of all activities, especially for us grown-ups over 50. Because the best exercises are those you do, not those you don't. And doing something and scaling down is always infinitely better than doing nothing. Before we get going on that, let's look back to see what happened to me and how on earth I found my bliss, or in other words, how I started to enjoy exercising.
Yes!
So let's go back, way back in time. As a kid, I was never very sporty. In my preteens, I danced in a folk dance group on a national level, but PE was not my thing at school. No man, not at all. I never liked it with all the competitions, football and gymnastics, mainly because those things were never taught to us and thus I never learned them. You just knew how to do it or you didn't. And I just sucked on all of them, totally. I couldn't climb a rope and I was always among the last two to be picked for the team in the football games. I always played the defender, that is, I was standing near the goal and trying not to be hit by the ball. So week after week for years, it was no wonder that PE was my least favorite school subject, as it has been for many others as well, I know. In my first university years, I did regularly some weightlifting, but my muscles never grew. I didn't know why and I couldn't afford a coach, so I stopped doing it. Now I would know better, understanding, for example, the importance of the right kind of food and rest. And a decade or so later, I went to an Ashtanga yoga class with some colleagues and fell in love with it. After the first class, I was breathing like never before. It was fresh and somehow open and clear. And I quit smoking instantly. I just didn't want to ruin the wonderful feeling of breathing. The smoking I had smoked by that time about maybe over 10 years anyways. The training also helped me with other hardships in life. It gave me sort of a beacon to sail in the stormy seas of life. I knew that whatever would happen, I could always do yoga. I could always go to my sun salutations and stretching. So for about a year, I did Ashtanga regularly 5 to 6 times a week. Then somehow all the apparently good reasons not to do it anymore became stronger, and I stopped. The reasons included having a new job, feeling tired, having to walk the dog, and the bus ride to the Ashtanga class taking too long, and so on and so forth. And let's jump another decade later, I went to CrossFit. That was fun from the get-go, and the atmosphere in the box was supportive and positive. The biggest thing for a PE hater like me was that the coaches taught every movement and exercise thoroughly first and then gradually eased into the complete set. But again, after a year, some typical roadblocks came up and I stopped doing CrossFit regularly and gradually, then altogether. In the first season of the podcast, I talked with my training buddy about how to get back into CrossFit after being off it for a while. It happens quite often that in a CrossFit box, the pressure can get rather high to use bigger weights, do more reps, and always improve your results. In the first season, we wanted to encourage scaling and doing just the right amount of reps to keep workouts enjoyable and not to break yourself or get hurt. In spite of all the encouragement from the peer athletes. But as it turned out, CrossFit wasn't for me after all, even with a lot of scaling. But then, something unexpected happened. Something that if somebody had told me a week earlier, I would have laughed it off. Earlier, 2023, I had a pretty bad and painful throat infection for about a week. After getting well, I went to take some bottles to the recycling station about a kilometer away. And then after returning, I felt really good, unusually good. Since I had some time and nothing particular to do, I decided to go for an actual, a little longer walk. That walk ended up being over 5 kilometers and it took more than an hour. After the walk, I was in total bliss. I walked 6 kilometers the following day and 8 the next. I had never before felt so good after an exercise. Not even with my Ashtanga yoga training or folk dance, not with weightlifting or CrossFit, did I ever get such bliss. But after that walk, everything was different. So why did it feel so great? Was it because the moon and the stars were in the right conjunction, or was it just because the weather was nice? I pondered this to myself, and it seems the simplest explanation for this exhilarating feeling was runner's high, as many call it. It supposedly has something to do with endorphins.
The good to know corner.
Endorphins are amino acids, natural chemicals that your brain produces. They have two main effects. They help relieve pain and they promote feelings of pleasure or well-being. The term endorphin combines the words endogenous, originating within the body, and morphine, a pain reliever, highlighting their role as the body's internal painkillers. When you experience pain or stress, your brain releases endorphins to help alleviate discomfort and improve your mood. These chemicals act on the opiate receptors in your brain, reducing the perception of pain and triggering positive feelings. In summary, endorphins are your body's natural way of managing pain and enhancing pleasure, contributing to the positive feelings often associated with exercise. The term runner's high, or in my case, walker's high, describes a state of euphoria and reduced anxiety, a feeling of profound contentment and well-being that comes from continuous or intense exercise. My experience after the first walk is a real-world example of this. I unexpectedly discovered this euphoric feeling through walking, a state of total bliss that I hadn't experienced with other forms of exercise. While it was once believed that endorphins were primarily responsible for this sensation, recent research suggests that endocannabinoids, another type of natural chemical produced by the body, may play a more significant role. Endocannabinoids can cross the blood-brain barrier and are thought to contribute to the pleasurable feelings associated with sustained physical activity. They activate cannabinoid receptors like weed, so they are actually internal weed. In summary, a runner's high is produced by a combination of different compounds in your body, including endorphins, endocannabinoids, and phenethylamine. So internal pain blockers, natural compounds similar to cannabis, and then a natural stimulant. However, endorphins may increase the positive effect of exercise on anxiety and depression, and they also may play a role in exercise addiction, sort of a good kind of an addiction. After regular and intense exercise, the brain may produce fewer endorphins during rest to maintain balance, causing a person to exercise even more to get the same feeling, to get the same high. Since several internal euphoriants are responsible for this exercise-related euphoria, it is not at all an exaggeration to call it a high. a runner's high or a walker's high.
The good to know corner.
Such a high had been evading me for most of my life, and now just good old-time brisk walking gave me that high. Who would have known? So, why did it happen? What was it that my grown man's body was finally ready for it, or was it simply because when walking, I do the warm-up longer and more thoroughly? After all, it is an elementary part of the overall exercise. Earlier, I might have been too eager to get to the real exercise and skipped a part or the whole warm-up. Or, like so often in CrossFit, the warm-up itself was already pretty intense, like an exercise for me. No matter the reason, it is not as important as the outcome, the consequence. It has made me exercise actively for over 2 years now, and I have adopted new ways to move and new ways to keep track of what I'm doing.
Weekly challenge.
I will get deeper into my journey and how to start exercising over 50 after a lengthy pause in later episodes. But before that, why don't you just put on your walking shoes and go around the block, or longer if you feel like it. And what I like to say, don't do nothing, do something and scale it back. This was Scale to Fit, Fit in Your 50s with Marko Lindgren. All sounds are made by me. Send us your feedback via email at feedback@scale2.fit or visit podchaser.com/scale2fit to leave a rating. Don't forget to check the show notes at scale2.fit. All the links are there. Thank you for tuning in.